So in today's topic, we are going to discuss about the arrays. So when coming to this Java arrays. So this Java array is a container object that holds a fixed number of values of a single data type. So whatever the data type that you are using, and if you want to assign any values, a number of values using same data type called int, string, char, or boolean, or whatever the data types that you are aware of till now. Yes, of course you can use n number of data types, and you can go through that, and it acts like a container, so where you can store n number of values under a single variable name. So before that you are storing the values like this in this format: int I is equal to 1, but now I can save int I is equal to 1 to 10 numbers in int I only. Int I only, I can store n number of values with the same data type, integer data type. Numeric values I can save using the int I. So that is possible only with the arrays in the Java concept. It is a single data type. And one thing you must have to remember that, so whenever you are gonna see that square brackets, so it is indicated using square brackets. So whenever you find these square brackets in your program, so then you must have to assume that they have used an arrays concept or arrays principle to store the values in that. And the approach, so you all are aware of what is an approach. So you can take int square brackets I is equal to, you can take 1 comma, so like that. Yes, of course you can take down the things. So this is one approach, this is one approach while you are initializing the arrays int. So likewise, yes, of course you can also take string, char, boolean, float, so whatever the things that you want, so based on your requirement, yes, of course you can go ahead. So for your understanding, I have simply taken the integer values, the numeric values from 1 to 6, and I have stored each and value from I into I. So now I is a container. Now I is a container and I is an array. I is a container and I is an array. Yes, of course you can go through the another syntax: int I square brackets. Yes, of course you can also describe like this. Now I is a array. So down, yes, of course you can give I is equal to 1 comma 2. So yes, of course this is also another approach. Don't confuse. So here in this line you have initialized I as an integer data type, integer container, so which holds n number of values with the help of this array symbol. So basically most of the times I will use this syntax, which is a preferred thing. Yes, of course you can go ahead with whatever the syntax that you want. Another thing, int I is equal to new int. Yes, of course you can also give the values over here, not the values, you can also describe the length. So here my length is 1 to 6. So here I can assign I want to insert only 10 values in I, so I'm giving the limit. So with the help of this syntax you can take down the limit, so only 10 numbers, 10 values can be assigned into I. So why? Because I have followed another approach, different kind of approach, to initialize int I, an array I, and I created a new int. So new is a keyword used to create a new object, a new address to the thing separately. So yes, of course, let us assume that you are a group family, so you are moving to the new building. So yes, of course you don't need to sell that the existing thing, but you have created a new thing, new business, new bike. Yes, of course you might have scooty in your home, but you have brought a new bike for your sake. That is new thing. So here the new keyword is used in Java to create a new object, or to create one separate block, or to create one separate memory. Okay, so here I have allocated 10 values. Now in I can save up to 10 things, but the index is 9. What is the difference between the storing of the values and the index? So first of all you need to know about the index. So what is an index? Index is nothing but, so how many values that you are gonna save in that I, so that will be counted using index in arrays concept. Arrays concept. So what is meant by index? So nothing but when you are counting the things, you will start it from 1 rupee, 2 rupees, 3 rupees, 4 rupees, like that. But when coming to the Java point of view and also the index, you will count from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, like that. Not from the 1. The beginning of the thing will be 0. And this thing I already gone through in the, what is that? Strings as well. The index of s1 dot index of or lost index of. Yes, of course, you will get the numbers of 0 to. Yes, of course, what are the things that you have taken on the requirement. Yes, of course, you will get that much limit. In arrays also, so we have saved 1 to 6. But the index limit of this I is 5. How is that possible? So here 0 is countable as 1 is countable as 0, 2 as 1, 3 as 2, 4 as 3, like that. The saving will be like this. So 1 will be 0, 2 will be 1, as it take as an index count, 3 as in 2, 4 as 3, so like that, 5 as 4, 6 as 5. So what is the total index of this I? The total index of this one will be 5. So remember one thing, so whenever you are trying to store a values or using an arrays, so you need to remember that it will store the values in the form of index count. And when coming to this different types of arrays, so we have single dimensional and we have multi-dimensional thing. Multi-dimensional array. Yes, of course, in multi-dimensional array, you can call that multi-dimensional as two-dimensional array or jagged array. So don't get confused. So if the person asking about what is a jagged array, so you must have to reflect it as a multi-dimensional array. Yes, of course, I will take down the things easier for you. So now let us decode what is a single dimensional array. Single dimensional array. So when coming to the single dimensional array, so basically I think you all are aware of what is an Excel sheet. So in that Excel sheet you will have rows and columns. What do you mean by rows? So number of rows is equal to number of columns. In your intermediate, I think so, when you gone through 1A or 2A subject, you have matrices 3 into 3, 2 into 2, 2 into 3, 2 into 4, like that. Nothing but n number of columns is equal to n number of rows, or n number of rows is equal to n number of columns. Yes, of course, you have gone through those all things. When coming to the single dimensional array, so single dimensional array is nothing but one row and n number of columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here number of rows are 1. In one row I have used 10 columns. In one row I have used 10 columns. So for your better understanding, so let me open the Excel sheet. So one second. So I hope now you will understand what is a row and what is a column. So one second, let it open the things. So here you can find I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. I have 18 rows. So when coming to the columns, I had A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. So this is the format of the Excel thing. So I want to store 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, of course, I have used only one row. I have used only fifth row, but I have used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So this is a single dimensional array. single row and number of columns. And another thing, when coming to the multi-dimensional array, number of rows is equal to number of columns. Number of rows is equal to number of columns. So if you have a requirement, so here I will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is a single dimensional array and this is a multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array is nothing but I have used 3 rows and 3 columns. I didn't use 1 row and 1 column. I have used 3 rows. At the same time I have used 3 columns. So at that time the only difference that I can describe with the help of this Excel sheet is that 1 row and multiple columns are described as a single dimensional array. Number of rows is equal to number of columns is described as a multi-dimensional array. But at that time, yes, of course, there is a requirement. So where you have taken down the things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So I have described about in multi-dimensional array, there will be 2-dimensional array and jagged array. So this n number of rows, if n number of rows is equal to n number of columns, then it is a 2-dimensional array. If n number of rows is not equal to n number of columns, then it was a jagged array. How is that possible? So this is a 3 by 3 matrix. 3 by 3 matrix. 3 by 3 matrix is nothing but 3 rows and 3 columns. But how you can find the index? So most of the people will get confused in the index. So this one is a value which is stored in 0, 0. 0, 0. Not 1. It was not a 1 box. It was 0, 0. How is that possible? So one thing, take down the things here. 0, 1, 2 columns. 0, 1, 2 rows. So now so if you see here, the value of 0, 0 will be 1. 0, 1 will be 2. 0, 2 will be 3. So if you are a bit similar with the mathematics in your intermediate, so it will be easier for you to understand what are the things that I am taking down here. The first cell of n number of rows is equal to n number of columns will be the value of 0, 0. And the second value will be 0, 1. The first preference will be the rows index. So if you have the square brackets, so if I had the square brackets, so in that if I am assigning the value saying that 0, 0. So in I want 0, 0. Or else if you want to inject the things in the 0, 0, yes, of course you can use I 0, 0 is equal to 1. It will create a box of the matrix, and if you assign the values like that also, yes, of course it is good enough to take that things. But most of the scenarios it is an old approach, so storing n number of things like this. 1 second, I will show you on copy. So 0, 1, 0, 2, again 1, 0, 1, 1, and 1, 2. So likewise, yes, of course, if you have n number of things also, yes, of course, you can try to say like that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the saving order of int I. Int I as an array. Int I. So now I is an array. Yes, of course you can take that. But it will return an error. So what is the error? While you are using the multi-dimensional array, you need to describe rows as well as the columns. So at that time you need to take two square brackets. If you are taking single dimensional array, only one square bracket was required. If you are following multi-dimensional array, you need to take down two square brackets. So one is for rows and another is for column. One second, I will take down the things here, but don't try to mention this one in your program. First one will be represented as rows, second one it is represented as column. Understood? Yes, of course you can also take another approach saying that I want 3 rows and 3 columns. At that time int square brackets j is equal to new int square bracket, oh, sorry. So I want 2 rows and 3 columns. That is my limit. Or else if I want 3 by 3 matrix, the first bracket, as I told you, it was rows, 3 rows and 3 columns. 3 columns. So the first brackets will represent rows, the second bracket will represent the columns. But in single dimensional array we are not taking down the rows and columns. Why? Because we are only taking down one square bracket which represent one row and number of columns. No limit for that columns. Yes, of course you can take only one row and you can add n number of things in that. N number of things in that. So now let us take down the code and as I told you, this is one method, one approach to store 1 to 6 numbers in 1 second, I have used 3 into 2, okay, 2 into 3 matrix. So let me take down the same. Two comma 0, 2 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 7, 8, 9. So this is the input I have given to the Java program saying that please use in 2-dimensional array. So this was not included in the syntax, so please don't include this thing. For your identification I just included the rows and column inside that. So this is the syntax, so which I used to inject 3 into 3 matrix and I stored 1 to 9 values. This is one approach. And coming to the another approach, int I is equal to, yes, of course you can take the square brackets like that, and as of course you can assign the values saying 1 comma 2 comma 3, 4 comma 5, 5 comma 6, 7 comma 8 comma 9. So this is another approach. This is another approach. Yes, of course you can use like that. So there are different approaches while you are taking down the things. So it is completely based on you. It is completely based on. In the same syntax also, yes, of course you can assign the values for the single dimensional array saying that I square bracket 0 is equal to 1, I square brackets 1 is equal to 2, like that. So based on your logic and your things, yes, of course you can use like that. It is up to you. Okay, so I hope now you are able to understand about what is the saving process of the indexes of the values in the arrays, and also what is the approaches that you can take down, and what is an 2-dimensional array. Now what is in jagged array? So for that jagged array, so I will take down the Excel thing again. So here I am taking down 1, 2. So now I will take 3, 4 and 5 and 6 in the same row. Use 7, 8 and 9. So what is the difference between this matrix and this matrix? Yes, of course I have used number of rows is equal to 3, but number of columns that you have used is equal to 4. But in one row you have used 2 columns, in another row you have used 3 columns, in another row you have used 4 columns. But what is the maximum limit of the columns that you have used here? Is 4. So number of rows is not equal to number of columns. At that time we will call that one as a jagged array. At that time we will call that one as a jagged array. So where is this single dimensional, multi-dimensional? So when coming to this thing, 2-dimensional array. So when coming to this two-dimensional array, number of rows is equal to number of columns. But when coming to this jagged array, number of rows not equal to number of columns. Number of rows is not equal to number of columns is called as jagged array. Number of rows is equal to number of columns is called as two-dimensional array. So now I will take down one simple code to iterate the things. So what is meant by iterate the things? Nothing but, so I want to print, so how many variables or how many values that I have assigned to int I. So nothing but I want an output saying that 1 to 9 in an array format. So for this one I have taken public class test. So in that I need to take a main method public static void main. So in that main method, so I want to give int I is equal to square brackets 1 comma 2 comma 7. So that was enough for me, I think so. So now I just want to get the output of this int I. I want the output of this int I. So at that time, yes, of course, I can use for loop, or else I can use do while and all. But what will be the condition? So while I'm using the for loop, so what is the first step in the for loop? Initialization, int j. So now what will be your condition? So my condition is, j less than I dot length. Means my condition here I am taking down saying that, so I have taken one variable int j. Okay, one second. Int j is equal to 0. The default value of the int j I have given as 0. So I am saying that j must be less than I dot length. Nothing but, so the length of the j will be the length of the I. So what is the length of the I here? The length of the I is 6. The length of the I have taken here, the length of the I is 6. So why I am taking down 6? Based on the index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Done. So here my condition was done. So now what I want? I just want to increase the value. J plus plus. For loop thing has opened in the sysout statement. So I will give sysout. What is sysout means? System.out.println. So here I will give I square brackets j. So this will print the entire values from 1 to 7. This is the logic. So no need to by heart these all logics, or don't need to think more deeper into the logics. Yes, of course, each and every person logics are different from each other. So I'm not forcing you to by heart this logic, but understand what is the logic was trying to do at the end of the day. So when you click on run symbol or run icon, so yes, of course, here you are given this out statement. You are saying that you have initialized j and a dummy variable, and here you are assigning the length. So what was the length of the I will be the length of the j, and then you are increasing the j plus plus. Nothing but the value will be updated to the next one, I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that. And then yes, of course, in the sysout statement system.out.println, you are saying that please print j inside I. J inside I. Keep j inside I is nothing but, so when coming to this logic what I have used, so let us take a real-time example. So if I am using a laptop in my home, so even my brother has some work to do, or else he want to create one resume. So no need to buy another laptop for that, no. He can simply ask me the password of my laptop, and he can sit in front of my laptop and he can perform a number of things in my laptop, right? So now the usage of that person, it won't ask me for the what is that login credentials or change your email and all blah blah blah. So here this is my system. So in this system I had one user. So now this is a Nikhil Verma system, but now I am Karthik and I don't want anything to do, or I don't want to log in this Windows user and all. I simply access each and everything what Nikhil has in this system without logging with my credentials. So this is how this logic works. I am keeping j inside I. So what is j? J is a dummy variable that I have taken in the for loop, and I holds the values of 1 to 7. 1 to 7, and if you try to decode this program, yes, of course you will get the output of the numbers that you have taken in this single dimensional array. So likewise, so you can do a number of what is that logics using this for loop, do while, and yes, of course you can use this arrays to store a number of values, and you can perform those things easier. At the end of the day, we are not wasting the background what is that memory management to take a number of things. Yes, of course you can take a two-dimensional array as well. So for the two-dimensional array, 1 second, let me take down the things here so you can simply copy paste the things. Int let us take k is equal to, I have opened the thing. So in the first row I want 1 comma 2 comma 3. In the second row I want 4 comma 5 comma 6, 7 comma 8 comma 9. So this is the two-dimensional array I have taken down. This is the approach. So yes, of course you can also follow this approach. You can also follow this approach to store the variables, but the easier way to make my program more effective and simple, the simple lines I have taken this thing. In the first row, this is the